Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to the Barstool Baseball Power Ranking Show. It is Carl. This is Monday, and I am joined by Clemmer, Hubbs, and Chris Castellani. We're right in the meat and potatoes of the division series, and we're going to rank the last 8 teams left. What odds to win the World Series? How are we doing this, Clemmer?
I guess, likelihood to win the World Series based on kind of the situation they're in, which some teams are in troublesome situations that they weren't in 2 days ago. Who's the ninth team? Is it the Devil Rays? Did the Rays clinch the ninth spot? Or are they the best of those?
It's not the Blue Jays. It's not the Blue Jays.
We'll see this through. We'll do it for 8 teams.
Okay.
We'll keep the process going until we can't do the process any longer, until there's a World Series champion, I suppose. The power ranking show for when there's actually a World Series preview should be interesting. But for now, we are in the DS. We had an off day for the National League today. The American League played, so there's 2 games through. And at the time of recording, the Astros and the Twins just finished their series. They finished 1-1. I'm sure we're going to get to some reactions on that. But let's just kick it off with the batting order. I believe we said Clemmer, myself, Hubbs, and Castellani.
Yep.
Okay. So we're just going to rifle through. Clemmer, you're up first. Who's the most likely team to win the World Series, or who's your World Series favorite in the field?
It's tough. I think we're going to have a change up top here. I'm going with the Phillies here, having the best chance. I'm not 1,000% locked into this. I think that them winning that first game is so crucial in a 5-game series, obviously. You're doing it in Atlanta. And, you have Wheeler pitching. People hear this later today. Braves are not going to go away quietly. They still have Max Fried. We still have Bryce Elder, who did pitch better as time went on. And obviously, if this goes 5, they still have Strider available. So, and who looked very good in that first game. It certainly wasn't his fault. It's crazy that the greatest, offense, most powerful offense we've ever, can't score runs right now. So, was it the long layoff? I don't know. I think too much can be made of that. I think it's more a case where the Phillies just have really good pitching and the Braves walked right into it.
No one's actually shocked of that result, right? And game this happens. Teams go nuts in the regular season, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they fit. I'm not out on the Braves. It's one game.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked by the shutout. I'm shocked by it.
I'm not out on the Braves either, but who isn't shocked?
I'm just saying, not shocked. Obviously, them getting shut out is crazy. But we've seen the Dodgers do this, where they run through the regular season and they're where's this offense? I don't know. This is just what October is, man. It's crazy shit happens. That being said, I hate that. I hate that. Well, I hate you. I hate everything about you. I hate everything about you.
That's fine. But it's October. It's crazy. I mean, you can do that any month. You can do the same thing in August. You can do the same thing in May.
No, that's wrong. This is dead wrong. Let's save this for...
Because there's a microscope on it now, and we all...
Did you watch Pablo Lopez pitch tonight?
I did, and he's been really good all year.
Correct. Did you hear him in the dugout afterwards? Where does this rank for you? And he's talking about this has to be the first, the most. Do you know what that means mentally when he takes him out in prep getting into the game? Dude, it's just completely different than a fucking May Thursday game in Kansas City. This is the most meaningful baseball these guys will ever play in their entire fucking life. So I want to completely discard the fact that it's just like any other game. Now, that means it takes other guys to certain levels, good and bad. Some guys rise to the occasion. Some guys fall apart. Not everybody, but I think it's more like a bell curve. And there's some people who thrive in it and some people who don't.
No doubt.
But don't deny its existence, Clemmer.
Well, Clemmer is
two separate things. So.
Clemmer is a nerd who looks at a computer and doesn't input emotion into the game. He just thinks X's and O's and fucking numbers and, fucking one. It's just all numbers to him. There is no emotion to Clemmer's aspect of watching
not
baseball.
True. I know this is the whole thing. Yes, because everything is black and white, and someone who likes stats can't appreciate the game.
I've heard you admit that, though. You admit
Here's
that.
my point. My point is this. is that we say crazy stuff happens in October. Well, crazy stuff happens every month. It's just we're more focused on the games now. And if you don't understand that, then you don't understand baseball.
But it matters the most right now.
Of course it matters the most now. No one's arguing that. These games obviously mean a lot more than a game in May. I'm just saying the whole idea that this is wild, this is October, it's bullshit.
Okay, so then, how about this? Quicker then.
If anything, it's more consistent.
Simply, how would you describe why the Braves didn't score? Did they get shut out, or did they not show up?
Yeah, I mean, when you have 7 different pitchers shut you out, that's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
You know, is that the long layoff? Is that, you know, I have a hard time believing that every single Phillies pitcher was done. It's not like what happened with Pablo Lopez tonight, where they got shit pumped by a guy who's very good, who had a great night. This is different. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I said, are the Braves tense? I don't want to play too much into that. I'm not saying that stuff, by the way, just so people understand. I'm not saying players can't get tense or get nervous. I'm saying it doesn't make a ton of sense to try to evaluate that because we can't get in their heads. So it's almost kind of like a wasted effort. Like, I'm going to pretend I'm a psychologist who understands that this guy's nervous. Or I can look at the results and be like, all right, I can actually speak to this because I'm not guessing.
But you like to discard that. Because you can't put a number on it, you discard it completely.
I'm in the middle here. I know it's a better show if we continue to shit on Clemmer, but I know he's speaking truths.
Okay.
He's a very good, and it would be unfair to paint Clemmer as a bad baseball guy who doesn't give a fuck about this.
Fine.
I know where he's coming from. I'm a little bit in the middle.
Fine. We're going to revisit this with Kershaw.
Yeah, I do want to.
I want to bring up 2 things real quick. 1, Trey Turner's double play is the play of the postseason so far. That was unbelievable. That was a momentum just shutdown that absolutely won the game for the Phillies. The Braves, that could have been first and third situation with 1 out, 3-1 game, 1 swing, and the Braves are winning that game. That's how quickly that game could have turned. We've seen the Braves do this all year. That's how great of a play was. The fact that he got enough on that flip to get Albies running at first, he's bust down the line. That was unbelievable. I will say, now we've talked about so much shit. We're not even talking about the Phillies anymore. So I want to bring it back to the point of, I don't know if I can put the Phillies number 1 just because it's 1 game. There's a team that is 1 win away from the ALCS, and they look unreal, and their bullpen is all of a sudden zapped into a shutdown mode, and their offense, it's a streaky offense. We saw it all year long. You know, they had a stretch in September. We were like, is this team making the playoffs? They're in a hot stretch. They're in for a streaky team, you couldn't dream of being in a locked in mode like the Texas Rangers are right now. I feel like we're dumb to not. Phillies can be 2, 3. No, sure, but the Rangers are bullying the Orioles right now, and they're go back home where they're going to need to win 1 game to advance to the ALCS here. I feel like we have to put them 1.
You see, I'll push back against that just because the ranking is based on likelihood of winning the World Series. If it was likelihood to win the current series they're playing, yes.
Yeah, but you got to get to the World Series.
Right. No, I understand
the
that.
next round's not the World Series, though.
I don't know. Again, who's closest right now to getting the World Series? It looks I don't know if the Phillies are going to win this. Like, the Braves could go. Listen, this is a little unfair to do this where the NL hasn't played 2 games yet. It would be really nice if they did. We'd have it's really skewed. I don't really know how, these power rankings are going to be weird, but I know the Rangers have dominated I guess not dominated game 1, but they dominated game 2, and they have ran through this Orioles pitching staff, and they look very, very, very good. And I don't know if the Phillies are going, I don't feel great still if the Phillies are going to win the NLDS. I'd still probably bet the Braves in this series. I don't know what the series price is, but I'm not giving up on the Braves after 1 game. And that's what I feel like we're doing if we put the Phillies 1.
Let's just get the bracket out. And let's just talk strategically about path forward then. Because I do like I had the Rangers 1 in my rankings because of their path forward. Because once they win this, it looks like based on Twins Astros tonight, you're going to see a little bit of a battle. It's going to go at least 4 games. It has to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So whoever the Rangers then get, they're going to be healthy. They're going to be rested. And if it's
and Max Scherzer's coming back.
Okay.
Well, okay. Let's find the breaks on a few different things. First off, they're going to be rested maybe by a day. So, all right, big deal. Max Scherzer coming back. Okay. We don't know. I mean, is he going to be able to go deep into that game? Probably not.
Well, I mean, when I say rested, like their bullpen should be rested. They shouldn't.
It's a game though, potentially. It's just one day potentially.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's like if we're gonna. I mean, it's a 5-game series. It's not like you're getting that many extra days.
The Rams' bullets are going to matter.
Sure. Yeah. Now the Rangers haven't lost a playoff game, but the Phillies haven't lost a playoff game either. And the reason I had the Phillies above the Rangers is the Phillies are better. They're a better team. Yeah. So it's hard for me to penalize a team that hasn't lost yet in the playoffs that I think is a team that could actually win a World Series.
But you still need to factor in that they're playing the Braves still. Like,
I had the Braves third. I had the Rangers second. So, like, this is kind of a mess. And, like, if you guys are really adamant that it should be the Rangers here, I'm not going to protest too much because it's such a kind of a clusterfuck because the teams have played an even amount of games. I just think the Phillies are a better team than the Rangers, and the Phillies haven't lost a game yet. So I can't.
Do you want to postpone tomorrow night?
No.
Okay, then crystal ball. Who do you think wins tomorrow? Who do you think wins on Monday night?
Monday night might be different than the series. I think the Phillies win that series. I don't know if they win. It's tough to win 2 in Atlanta.
And who's pitching for the Dodgers tonight?
Bobby Miller.
Bobby Miller.
Against Zach Gallen. In LA, though. Zach Gallen isn't as good in LA.
Yeah, but no, when you say isn't as good in LA, or do you mean he isn't good on the road?
Excuse me, isn't as good on the road. I should say that.
He's probably great in LA. Vibes are
why are we talking Dodgers right now? Because that's not neither of those teams are top 3. We're
correct. I'm only addressing the fact that those are the 2 games that haven't been played, and we're sitting here talking about the chaos of the rankings. I think it's fair to put either the Phillies or the Rangers first. I had Rangers 1, I had Phillies 2.
Yeah, I had Phillies 1, Rangers 2. So yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, quick draw. I'll give the. I guess because now in this case, because there's 4 or 2-on-2 in this case, the tiebreaker should go to the guy who made the pick. Then
fine. So we go Phillies.
Phillies and
So then okay.
Yeah, I'm 2 Rangers, and I think their path. And disagree or not, I think based on what I've seen, it seems like they're not going to be too stressed out when they get to the ALCS.
By the way, I just went and looked real quick. Zach Gallen's made 2 starts in LA's 9.90 ERA.
Could be some good concerts in town. Tinder could have been hot that time. Bad sushi. You don't know.
And it's tough playing the Dodgers because they can mash.
Yeah.
Now this is a predicament at number 2 because even as I say Rangers, I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe it more than the Braves. I would really like the Twins too. I can't wait to talk about them, but I'm not taking them second.
Right.
And the Rangers are up 2-0. I mean, it is you still have to play another round, but like the idea that they are that close at that, and not only that, they're 2-0 going home. So like they're on the doorstep of being a Final Four team. It's hard not to have them. For me, at least, number 2 is obvious.
And the bullpen efforts they're getting, like out of nowhere here. They're throwing Dent. They threw Dunning in long relief after Haney. They piggyback there. They didn't want to go. I guess Haney hasn't been going deep like at all lately. So that's kind of his limit. So that was more of a planned thing. Worked out. And then, you're getting efforts from Will Smith, who had a fucking 60 ERA in the regular season. You only needed an out from him, but an out nonetheless in a tight game. First real reliever they go to. I will say, Aroldis Chapman was nearing disaster Chapman.
Huge.
He got bailed out by Young so badly. What an unbelievable pick at third to start that double play. That really that could have been so bad. Chapman couldn't throw a strike to save his life. Completely bailed out there. I hated all of that. I wanted to see him implode so badly. But and then today, you're getting a fucking Cody Bradford throwing 3 2/3 shutout baseball. It's all these guys out of nowhere, man. Good for them.
Yeah, no, it's been remarkable. They're starting to remind. I mean, there's this weird symmetry between this and those Giants teams that Bochy had in the 2010s. Right? Now, maybe not as deep from a pitching standpoint, but a couple of those teams went into the postseason stumbling, and you're just like, how? They're not getting past the first round, and everything seems to be going right for them right now. They drew, because I've talked about this, how I feel like the best teams in October are the teams that are going to see the most pitches. How about 11 walks in a 9-inning postseason
And
game?
5 from Corey Seager, the most ever in a game in the postseason.
That's just insanity. I mean, it's best case scenario for them. It's worst case scenario for the Orioles. We will talk about the O's at the bottom of this list at some point, but it's like that wild card round was the best thing that could have happened to them. And we talked about them coughing up the division, but it's like they got this head start with Montgomery and Eovaldi being able to shove in those first 2 games of that series. Now all of a sudden, they're seeing red. They played great baseball this weekend.
Can I say this postseason sucks so far?
Sucks.
Yeah.
I almost led from the top from it, but there's been no real moments besides like Warner's double play.
one run game. And now we've seen 12, 14 games. This has not been good at all. Baseball has been sloppy. It's you got all these walks for some of these games.
Starting pitching, with a few exceptions, has been fucking really brutal. I feel like. I mean, guys just not going deep, not locating. You give credit to the offenses, but yeah, I'm with you. I mean, outside of that one run game in Game 1 between the Orioles and Rangers, I would say probably the Braves. Phillies Game 1 is probably the most entertaining game besides that, just because it was so surprising. I'm with you.
Yeah, 2 parts to that. I blame the Rays because they played the most ugly form of baseball I've ever seen. They've fucking Yankees play his team 13, 15 times, whatever, and they play spotless baseball. And then all of a sudden, postseason, they don't know what they're doing. And I will be a little more patient with calling this a dud of a postseason because I think this Phillies Braves series is going to be epic. Starting tomorrow night, once that gets back to the bank, that's going to be electric. Like that, we need that series to go 5 and be just an awesome slobber knocker. Because Dodgers D-backs doesn't look so hot right now in terms of intensity. Maybe this Twin series because Minnesota's home crowd has been electric so far. So I have faith there, and I have faith with the Phillies. Everywhere else, duds, and then hopefully ALCS and NLCS get up. But yeah, there has been. You could ask more people. They're probably like, we didn't even know the postseason was going on. That's how bad it's been. I feel like
some good storylines available. The Orioles can come back. They have a wonderful storyline. I say the postseason. There's some stuff out there. I really like watching the Twins play.
Yes,
we're going to talk about him later. Evan Carter, call out Evan Carter, 21-year-old, top 30 prospect for the Rangers. Played 27 games for the Major League team, had an over 1,000 OPS. He shined. He's absolutely shined in the postseason. And typically, we've talked about this before, younger players that come up and dominate or do very well in the postseason, get momentum forward. I mean, you don't talk about outfielders that hit in the middle of the lineup. You're usually talking about relievers, that get a chance. The Orion kid from the Phillies. Who started in single A or whatever. But we're talking about a guy, he was in, I believe this kid started the season in Double A, played 97 games in Double A this year, hit 287. So he's having a huge impact as the Rangers get back. And I just want to give him credit because, it's fucking remarkable to be 21 years old and be putting on a show like that.
And that's what you need in October. You need to have a breakout guy who comes out of nowhere, whether it's fucking, Alcides Escobar all of a sudden not being able to get anybody out in 15. They're catching all the breaks and getting all the right players hot at the necessary time right now. It's been a nightmare scenario for the O's, but you got to give these guys a lot of credit.
Yeah, and then Bochy takes Grossman out of the lineup in Game 2, subs in Garver in the 3-hole, grand slam. That's just such a good manager. He is so good, and he is one of the few managers in baseball who doesn't get told what to do by the front office. They don't set the lineups for him. He does it all. That was in his agreement when he came on. Man, just the magic man. Hall of Fame manager, obviously. That's why they have him, and he is a big part of all this.
I do worry about the Rangers long term. I mean, Eovaldi had that great start against the Rays, but he's been horrible. He had a 9 ERA in September. Was that just a one-off because the Rays were just kind of in their own heads too much or just sucked or just were in a slump? Or is Eovaldi back? And now we're getting the Eovaldi we saw back in May and June. I don't know.
Game 3 will be telling for that. I feel like I still think they win the series. I still think they win Game 3. But if he's kind of reverts back to what we saw in September, how I feel about them going forward changes a little bit.
I same mentality as being a quarterback. If you're going out there and thinking about your last interception or thinking about your last touchdown drive, the best you can do is just what's in front of you. So that's what I was think is impressive about Eovaldi against the Rays is there's a ton of reasons for there to be baggage, but he looked crisp. He executed his pitches.
He did. He looked great.
You know, the Rays are it wasn't a great lineup, no, but it's quality. It's a good baseball team, and so he pitched so well though. You know, it's not like one of those situations where we're saying like, oh, it was a quality start.
And Carl, we're talking that bell curve, and Clemmer, close your ears, but Nathan Eovaldi is a very good pitcher in October.
He's a dog, man.
That's the guy you want. It's a guy. How are you just going to shake your head like he's a 2.9 ERA in his career in the
postseason? I'm agreeing with you.
No, he's not.
Stop being so fucking edgy.
You shook your head.
I didn't. I was agreeing. I was nodding.
He was nodding.
Oh, I saw one of these.
I was nodding. You cast on. You're fucking. You're in your fucking own head. You're paranoid.
I saw. I have a question for you three. What is the atmosphere going to be like in Texas? Because they haven't hosted a playoff game in this ballpark. Like, it's just been the COVID year. The COVID World Series. Like, that's it. So you can't judge it off that. And all these games have been on the road. Like, is it going to be hostile in Texas?
Should be. I mean, that better be. I don't think it'll be like what Camden and Minute Maid are, but it's not going to be fucking Tropicana either.
I'm just nervous. New ballpark. I haven't seen it. They've been on the road all this time. I don't know. Let's see. It's a fun team to root for, man. It's a really good lineup. It's awesome to watch them hit the baseball. Who the O's throwing?
I would just be now that I talked through this, I would be nervous if the Orioles won Game 3.
Who are they throwing?
Is it
Dean Kramer?
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Oh man,
I don't think they go with Kyle Gibson here. So
no,
losing John Means is really
bad.
The Brewers losing Woodruff and the Orioles losing Means is so crushing. And then on the flip side, the Rangers almost gained the Eovaldi because we hadn't seen something like that in months. So can make a big swing.
Mm-hmm. Great. We'll talk about Baltimore in a second because they're
probably not till the very end.
So we're going. So we've only done two teams.
Yes.
We're going Phillies 1, Rangers 2. I have 3.
Yes.
So I'm going to go the Braves because the Braves are still the Braves, and they've only lost one game, and this can easily turn around. And like it's part of me thinks that. Well, it is Wheeler game 2. So it's like you don't get any reprieve here. You know, it's going to be a different kind of game because you're not going to get 7 relievers or whatever it was in game 1. But you're throwing Fried. You got to feel good about that. You got to feel confident in yourself. I'm sure they haven't lost an ounce of confidence. Like, yeah, it was a weird game, whatever. Put aside. You had a day off. They probably wish they could have just gone right back out there, especially because they went through the bullpen like that. Not the case. But I feel like the Braves are still the Braves, still on offense. I really like what I saw to the Phillies, and there's a lot of confidence in that team and a lot of fuck you. Like Trey Turner looking like he did, the emotion that he poured out there in game 1. Harper's fucking awesome. That's a team that's not scared of the Braves, and they showed it in game 1, but it's still the Braves, and everyone else below this is nice, and the Twins, and we'll get to them, I'm sure, very soon. But we can't drop the Braves any more than 3, so the Braves are 3rd.
If there's any positives that I can take out of that game, because that's rough. It's first shutout they've had at home in almost 2 years. Or actually, I think over 2 years. Strider was awesome.
Yeah.
And like, if there is a situation where, say, they're down 2-1, facing elimination, like no hesitation. I mean, they would anyway. Throw him out there, game 4, hostile crowd, he can shove. Like, that's the only positive, takeaway. And the other obvious takeaway being they've been like the greatest offense ever. I know the microscope is held up a lot closer and everything's magnified when we get to October, but we can't ignore what this team has already done. I have no problem having them, here. They're still elite.
I would expect the Braves to look very good in game 2.
Well, we knew this series would be like this, though. We knew this thing's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. I mean, we kind of predicted this as kind of this quasi-NLCS anyway.
Yeah, no argument here. I had the Braves 3.
No.
Who's pitching tonight for the Phillies?
Wheeler. Wheeler versus Fried.
Huh?
Braves minus 160.
Wheeler's a big game guy. I mean, Fried can be too. I mean, Fried's had some money moments in the postseason. But
I'll be taking the Braves run line and feel very good about that.
Who's 4? Castellani, keep it rolling.
Okay, I feel like I'm gonna get some pushback here but I'm gonna claim recency bias. I'm going Houston at 4. I have them. Yeah, I have them. I have them ahead of Minnesota. I understand. Look, tonight was excellent.
Christian Javier is pitching against Sonny Gray on the road.
Right, and then they'll get Verlander game 4, and you think Frommer's going to pitch like shit back-to-back games at home? No way. I mean, like,
Pablo Lopez isn't like what?
He's been dude.
Pablo Lopez just fucking dealt, and you just like didn't even say his name in your hypothetical of how this series would turn out.
He's been fucking great. He's
Justin Verlander's on the Astros. This is the Twins have outplayed the Astros the first 2 games this season of the series categorically, and they're going home.
If you remove 1 inning, no, they haven't. I mean, if they got completely shut down in game 1, Neris shit the bed. They win 6-4 tonight. They were great. They outplayed him tonight. They outpitched him tonight. Lopez was fantastic. But and we're going to go back and forth on this, and that's fine. I have way more faith in Houston righting the ship than I do Minnesota pulling off an upset here. That's just where I stand on it.
It wouldn't be an upset. They're going home.
It would be a series.
It's 1-1 right now. But it's 1-1 right now. I'm saying, like, it's at this point, yeah, it would be a series upset if we were having this conversation on Wednesday. But we're having this conversation on Sunday night. They've played 2 baseball games against each other. They're going home. Sonny Gray is pitching game fucking 3. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah. Against a lineup that's stacked, and they're the defending world champions. And
did anybody see Yohan Duran pitch tonight? Did anybody see Carlos Correa play?
Correa looks awesome.
Correa is awesome. So is fucking Altuve and Jordan and Tucker and fucking Pena and these. I mean, these guys are
6-0, 6-0, Cupcake fucking City. Here's 90 fucking 4 thigh high.
Lopez,
great.
Lopez isn't pitching game, but Lopez has been fantastic.
Clemmer, who'd you have? You probably have Astros here.
It's a coin toss. It's Astros Twins 4-5 because it's very close. Carl, I don't know if you're being fair here. You know, I think the Astros are. Look, I've been saying all along the Astros are not who they were last year. This is a weaker version of them for sure, but they're still really good. And you know, like even this game, Sonny Gray, the Twins are favored, but it's -135. Like even if
it's a large October favorite, I feel like we're discounting that. Like -135, it's not -180 would have to be Sonny Gray versus Hunter Brown.
Are you talking series price or game 3?
Just game 3 price.
Oh, okay.
What's the series price?
It's not up yet because the game just ended.
I see both sides. So on one side, I see Carl's where I do think the Twins have outplayed them. Like if you go to the early, and this is what happens with Justin Verlander, man, like you have 2 innings to get him. And they had multiple men on base in the first and second inning. His pitch count was over 40, I think, at that point, if not just below that. And they let him off the hook both times. And what happens? Verlander finds his curveball. He settles in before you know he's got 6 shutout innings. And yeah, I did like the fight. And maybe that fight that they got off Neris carried over into game 2 with a little bit of confidence. Like, okay, we got the bats going a little bit here. And then I like what their offense has done all year. I didn't give them a chance in this series. I am definitely giving them more of a chance, but I still do lean Houston here. But I totally see both sides, and I think it is a true coin flip. I was blown away with the Minnesota crowd. And I think they add an element here to the Twins. Now, listen, fucking Houston Astros are no strangers to a hostile crowd, and they've won in many hostile crowds in their time together since 2017. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I see both sides, man. I think the Twins are playing great baseball, like really, really good baseball here. And they have really, really good pitching. And they certainly set themselves up here with Pablo Lopez to come back for game 5. And you have to feel really good about that. I don't know what to do. Clemmer, steer me.
I like this Twins team a lot. And this kind of flies in the face a little bit. It kind of go back to my initial argument of like, oh, they're the Astros. They're going to be good because their name is Astros and they have.
Yeah, you're kind of using that argument
in the playoffs over and over again. It's like, well, I don't know that's necessarily the case. On the flip side, though, they do have a lot of really talented players, and the Twins are more built for the playoffs. And even I thought very highly of them going into the postseason. Seeing it all kind of come together, though, is like, whoa, this is a playoff team. Really good starting pitching, a nails closer. They got some key hits, some guys that are really flourishing right now. Yeah, if you guys want to put the Twins, I honestly, for me, it's literally a coin toss, and that's hopefully that's what this series is. I mean, this is the first time we had a series go more than the minimum. So I'm hoping this is a series that will be a 5-gamer because I really enjoy watching these two teams face each other.
Let me clarify this. Castellani opened up by saying, I'm going to get shit on for this. So, of course, like, we're looking to shit on the pick here. Don't love it. Don't love betting against Sonny Gray. You know, I don't
either.
Going home, he's been awesome all year. He's been awesome at home. Duran's great. Baldelli's
I've got series price. Twins minus 114, Astros minus 106. So coin flip.
Yeah, I mean, there we go.
Which is
fair. Then fine. The Twins, put Astros 4. I don't give a fuck.
That would lead me to believe, though, that series price leads me to believe that they still feel pretty good about the Astros.
Right.
Well, I dare one of you guys to put the Diamondbacks ahead of the Twins.
I thought Castellani was going there when he said
No. It was
I thought for a second.
It was neck and neck to me between Twins and Astros.
I'm going to still say Houston because I shit on the Twins so much before this.
I'm rooting for the Twins so much in this series.
I woke up a Twins fan today, and I will go to sleep a Twins fan for the rest of this offseason.
I wrote in the group today. I love them today. I thought they had. I had such a good feeling about them today. But
the one thing I will say about them, and this isn't probably reinventing the wheel, but the way that this postseason has played out for them is exactly the way that they've needed it to go. They've gotten great starts from both Lopez and Lopez tonight was that's the best I've ever seen him, legitimately. Like, I've watched him in the AL Central. That's the kind of production they're going to need from their starters. Baldelli manages the bullpen well, and they've gotten just enough out of that lineup with Correa all of a sudden, postseason Correa arriving. This is everything they could have possibly asked for. It's a nice reprieve from a long, long history of a lot of playoff failures.
I'll say this too. I hated that trade at first. Trading a rise away for Lopez.
It's
about as win-win of a trade as you can get. The Marlins needed hitting. They got a premier guy that's young and going to be in their team for a long time. And the Twins got a premier pitcher who can shove in the postseason like that against Houston on the road. Special. That was a special performance. And the way he challenged guys, I forget, 6th inning maybe, 5th inning, he's facing Jordan, and he threw him a 3-2 changeup that was disgusting and fell off the tee. And it was just like, maybe there's still time for the Astros to get back in this game, with what the firepower they have. And, if Jordan leads off with a walk or a single or whatever, even a home run, all right, a little momentum, change up away, dance off the plate, swung and missed. And then it's like, oh, Pablo Lopez is fucking good.
Yeah. It's why you have to play the long game with trades, man, because as late as like August, we were all like, yeah, it's not a great trade for the Twins. Like, Arise is batting 375. Now all of a sudden, yeah, you're right. Win-win for both sides. Marlins don't get to the playoffs without Arise. Twins don't find themselves here without Pablo Lopez. It's worked out.
Who's 5?
So for the record, we're going Houston 4, Twins 5?
Clemmer's 5.
I'm fine with the Twins here.
Yeah, that's fine.
I said this in the Twins preview. They have 16 players that had over 250 or more plate appearances this season.
It's
that
nice
just shows itself over an extended period of time because like the quality of the at bat's very high. I feel like,
yeah.
Can something like this hopefully put to rest the idea that if you have playoff experience, you have this huge edge, which is just it's a stupid way of looking at baseball. Can we kind of put that to rest with this Twins team playing like this? A lot of these guys haven't had postseason experience.
Yeah, but I think it worked. How would you explain it then for a guy like Lackey or Lester, where like if their arm was falling off, they're still going to give you 6 innings.
Talented.
Well,
you can be talented and have experience.
I never said like having a lack of experience like hurts you because we've seen it all. Like look at like the 2017 Yankees. Like all those young guys, and they get within one game of the World Series. Like there are young teams that catch fire, and they're like they're almost like too naive to get nervous, and they're just having fun. Like they're playing above their head. Like I don't totally buy that, but I still also think that like having veterans, like the Astros are going back to Game 3 after losing this and not worried at all. Like they're just like it's fine. Like we've been through.
I don't like that because we have no idea. We have no idea how nervous they are.
I don't know, man. They've won multiple World Series.
Very nervous.
They've won multiple World Series together and have been through like a lot. I just don't think this is a situation that they'll find themselves like, damn, like we're in trouble here. I think they'll be like, all right, we trust Javier, and then we'll figure it out from there. Because we have a really good lineup, and we've been here before. Now, that's not to say like they're going to win this series, but I think having a ton of experience like that definitely plays in your way. For the Twins, Royce Lewis is fucking awesome.
He's good.
And
jacked. He's big.
He looks enormous at the plate. Enormous. He's dealing with this hamstring thing. He's running around like a crazy person. I don't know how much this hamstring, like the pickle he got caught in where he almost got home. He got tagged the last second. And then I thought he grabbed the back of his hamstring, but he seems to be okay. But he's awesome. He's a very, very fun guy to watch at the plate.
Like the Twins. We have 6, 7, 8. There's 3 teams left. I'm up next. I think it's a cupcake here. I think it's just the Diamondbacks because they're up 1-0. That's it.
Agreed.
Gallon going. Is anybody going to say like Corbin Carroll's name yet here? Corbin Carroll looks
It's on
good.
You're the pick.
He's like absolutely destroying his first postseason.
Sick.
And it could be like fitting into that category of like too young to not really care or
no, he's really good.
Yeah, but he's so like he knows the moment. It's not like
dude. He looks like
he's
a vet
so
up
big.
there.
He was made for it.
He's awesome. Like good for him. We were worried with the shoulder injury mid-season, like if he was gonna have to be shut down, surgery, whatever. Very happy he was able to get through that, and he's performing like this on this stage. Good for them. That offense too. Tommy Pham with 4 hits the other day. Christian Walker. Let's talk a second real quick. I hated this trade from the start. I'm very happy to be right about it. The Varsho trade never made an ounce of sense to me. Getting Moreno back and Gurriel. I thought Varsho and Clemmer, you're a big WAR guy. I think WAR way over inflates defense, and the fact that Varsho just plays so many positions, I think he just has a 4 or 5 WAR, whatever, just out of default. I never understood it for a second. He was not good for the Blue Jays this year. Moreno and Gurriel are players for this team every day. Good for them. The Diamondbacks are fun as shit.
They're winning.
There's value in being able to play different positions, being able to be flexible in that way. I do agree, though. Like Varsho's WAR is too high.
Yeah,
he's too much of a hindrance in the lineup. But I agree that there are definitely some. WAR is not a perfect stat. There's no perfect stat. But it's the cleanest of the. If you need one stat to tell the whole story, which is never a good idea. It's always a shortcut. But Varsho is still a nice player. But obviously the Diamondbacks won that trade by a mile.
Yeah.
They had to make the trade, though. They had Alejandro Kirk and Danny Jansen, and Alejandro Kirk's 23, 24 years old, and both of their contract statuses didn't really put Moreno in a spot to get any playing time for the Blue Jays. And so...
Well, you didn't need to do it for Varsho.
They traded the wrong guy, Carl.
Yeah, that too.
You can't develop at the major league level if you have 2 major league ready catchers that are pre-ARB.
That's fair, but also they didn't have to trade him for Varsho.
No, they could have.
Correct, but Varsho was very good. Varsho was very good last year.
I think he's
Varsho's a fine player,
and they did need an outfielder to like fit into the lineup in the mix. Somebody dynamic, somebody that plays good defense and plays a bunch of positions. So if he turns out to be good, is he on contract next year?
Yeah,
I like him, by the way. I
think he's controlled for a bit.
Okay.
That was part of it.
Yeah. Gabriel Moreno's very good, and thank you for calling him out, Hubs.
Varsho is under control through 2026.
That's
part of his value. Part of his value. But still,
trade.
I mean, Moreno is too.
Varsho has to improve his bat to ball contract. It just has to happen over the offseason.
The Diamondbacks could go to the World Series, and I feel like we would still have them like on the outside looking in these power rankings.
I think they win this series. I think they're going to win this series, though. So, I'm kind of on board with them right now. I think that game 1 set a crazy tone for me. They've got exactly good. I mean, okay, they scored 6 runs in the first. Kelly was awesome, and that's an overlooked thing here. Pitching with a lead, 6 scoreless,
big time.
Offense is coming alive. Pham, great trade. Pham's a good player, man. He's a good hitter. They're in good standing right now, man. I like where they're at.
Also helps they didn't have to go into their pen at all. Like just an easy breathe. Just a free, easy win. And you got a day off, too, on top of that. They're in a good spot here. They're nowhere near out of the woods, though. It's just one game. That being said, the Dodgers pitching isn't it's a rookie in game 2. So, the Dodgers pitching
there, too.
Yeah, right. This gets very uncertain for the Dodgers. It's not we've got, May lined up for game 2. No, there's a lot of uncertainty here with the Dodgers pitching. Diamondbacks should be confident here if they can fucking win game 2 somehow. Holy shit, that's crazy. I guess we should talk about Kershaw. It's pretty sad. I think this one was more he's just old and he probably shouldn't have been pitching game 1 of a series. Like he was just, but like they had no other options. Obviously, they've been decimated with these injuries and the Urias thing. He just had nothing. He's throwing 90 down the plate. His curveball was hanging. I felt genuinely bad watching that start.
It felt like, and he's not done, right? But it felt like a pitcher on his last legs, which is weird because he had a good year this year, right? But I know we talk about does postseason matter? Like how much of an impact does it have on these guys? I've been watching Clayton Kershaw make starts in October since his career began. He is his demeanor on the mound is noticeably different when he's in October. He's just not a very good postseason pitcher. Not to say that he's void of good outings. He's got a 4.5 ERA. He's the greatest regular season pitcher maybe ever in terms of run prevention. He stinks in the postseason, dude. I'm sorry.
Okay, he doesn't stink.
He doesn't stink.
4.5 ERA?
Okay, so he's had 8 starts in his career. Yeah. Where he's gotten 7 or more innings and allowed 1 or less runs.
Yep.
8 Bob Gibson starts, basically, in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that he's getting. So what happened those 8 times when he was elite? Was he nervous then? Was he in his own head then? Or is it that he's facing very good competition consistently in the playoffs, and that's hard for a lot of pitchers to adapt to, especially if you're throwing slop?
I think it's more that, and we can circle back and chase each other's tails no matter what. It's just a lot harder to consistently perform in October, and that is why there's inconsistencies there. Like you said, I don't think he's a bad postseason because he's had fucking gems in October. Right. And it felt like he obviously redeemed himself in 2020. That was the big, good for Kershaw. Yep. Monkey off his back, big time. Before that, there was a lot of spotty, shaky shit. Some really bad starts.
Some good ones, some great starts, though, too.
And some horrific ones as well. For a pitcher of his caliber who's going to go in the Hall of Fame as this, maybe first ballot. I don't know if it's going to be first ballot. Some people might use this shit against him, which is, they might. Our writers are crazy. But, a historic pitcher shouldn't have the resume he does in October. It should be look at Garrett Cole's, and obviously less innings, but Garrett Cole's been a really good October pitcher. His numbers are excellent. And, Kershaw's thrown almost 200 innings. He's thrown a fucking season in October, basically, at this point. 4.49 ERA. I chalk it up to it is a different animal pitching in October, and it's just harder to just be that good consistently. And playing good teams, playoff teams, every time is definitely a factor to it. But I think another factor is that some guys are, razor sharp, locked in killers in October, and some are like Kershaw. That's what it comes down to, I think.
So what happens when he is locked in?
Because he's still great, but it's just hard to consistently be great in October. It's so hard. Because everything's on the line. Every pitch matters.
No, is Garrett Cole perfect in October? Is Garrett Cole lost games in October? Right.
So, for the most part, he's really good. But,
Roger Clemens' ERA is higher in October. If you go through Greg Maddox's career,
there's a player. Let's not name his name, but we'll name his name. Kurt Schilling's probably the best October pitcher in my lifetime I can think of.
Yes.
John Smoltz was amazing in October as well. Andy Pettit is another guy that was better. It seemed to be better in October. Some guys do. The other thing, too, is could just be a random number of starts, too. Yes, it is Kershaw's thrown a lot of postseason starts, but he's had some great ones, some shitty ones, and he's always facing A or B plus talent. So that's hard. I think, especially if you're not a guy that has electric stuff. Kershaw hasn't had electric stuff in well over 10 years now. He's throwing slop. I think against some of these. What's that, Chris?
Kershaw's got some of the greatest stuff of all time. What are you talking about?
Right now?
Maybe not today, but
5 years ago, he did not. He does not.
Pretty fucking good.
15 years ago, you're right. He did. He had amazing stuff. I would say since 2015, that guy is gone.
Yeah, I'd say probably
10 years ago.
Yeah, we're splitting hairs. It's probably 17 or 18, but sure. But yeah, I don't know. I know there's a difference.
You don't think 30-year-old Kershaw in 2018 had great stuff?
Electric stuff? I would not call it electric. No, I would not. No.
Somebody get the StatCast out. I don't have it in front of me, and I'm not willing to sacrifice the Wi-Fi to make that search.
It wasn't the same. And you even look at the strikeout numbers, even look at his durability, he would break down a lot more. I don't think he's made 30 starts in a season since 2015.
Yeah,
I also think that's a function of the Dodgers always being up 15 fucking games in the West and then them being able to rest him for October to try and get it right.
I mean, he made 28 in 2019. That's close enough. I know you're shooting for 30, but 28 is a fucking ton of starts.
I guess.
If he was making 25 starts a year, that's fine for Kershaw going into October healthy. If you're the Dodgers, dude, they steamroll the West. Well, how many games did they win the West by? Except for the time of what?
This is a guy that struck out 300 guys in a season, and he hasn't struck. He can't even strike out. He hasn't struck out barely over 200 once since then. His stuff fell off the table, guys. I don't know where you've been.
He's adapted. Guys,
he's brilliant, but he doesn't have electric stuff anymore. I think that I don't think that's an argument.
Oh shit! Who said that? You said he hasn't had electric stuff in 10 years. Castellani's ears perked up.
2015, I would say, was the last time.
So that's when we're in the middle.
He broke down. He keeps breaking down at the end of seasons. I think that affects his durability in the playoffs.
Too much towel work. Too much time in the outfield working with the towel, doing the balance beam drill. I'm being serious. Guy works the body, works the core. His body is a temple. Did you guys know he went to high school with Matt Stafford?
Yes, they played baseball together.
Thanks. Hubs over here.
He led the league in ERA in 2017. But he only made 27. I think him breaking down over and over again is just telling. I think he's so bright he was able to adapt. Kind of like with Maddox. Maddox adapted too. He wasn't as good as he was in 94, 95 ever again. But he's so smart he figured it out. But a lot of these guys don't have as good of, other than Gibson, Schilling, a couple of these randos, most guys don't have the same success in the postseason they do regular season. I don't think it's a mental thing, it's that teams are better.
Yeah, but like it's a little different. Like I hear that. And some guys just live for it, like Pettit, right? But his struggles are more than most people's, it feels like, for elite pitchers.
Yes. No, that's undeniable. I mean,
it's a step above of like not being the same pitcher in the regular season. He's nowhere near as consistently dominant as he is compared to other great people are in the regular season. By
the way, Pettit's ERA was higher in the playoffs than it was close, but it was higher. I'm just saying.
It's one of those narrative-based things. So I go back to the reason I would pick Schilling is just because this stuff pitches at the top of the zone with a high heater, the split fastball, so you can split, obviously. The vertical aspect of his game is through the roof, and then with the power curveball, and then with a pick up a slider, cutter type thing. My reason saying is that like when it's tense, he had the ability to get something to fall off the table. Like he could get you to chase so much, and his command is so excellent. So in these tense moments where, it's get a strike or you're looking for your pitch, like first pitch is knee-high fastball on the outside corner, and then you can get somebody to chase so much. So there is this combination of command and then whiff stuff, which Garrett Cole has.
Yeah.
And I think Clemmer's point's reinforced by the fact that I think Kershaw's whiff percentage has drastically declined over the years.
That's undeniable. Yeah.
So what about Zach Gallen? Zach Gallen's got a chance to have a big start. I don't think he gives a fuck. If you told him OAR was playing next weekend and the D-backs are out, we got tickets. Yeah.
He's just like, his heartbeat's at like 50. Like in that he don't give a fuck what's going on. There's nothing that phases.
He's also
guy.
Very good. I mean, Jack Moore.
No, I'm saying that helps. Like all of that helps him. Like that guy is going to be just totally chill, just be like, it's another day. Here we go. So I am very excited, and he was good against the Brewers. So I'm excited.
He was good. He was very good. He was very confident. Like Jack. One last example. Jack Morris, 91 World Series pitches that shutout 10 innings. Oh my God, Jack Morris is ice for blood. He's unstoppable in the postseason. The next year at the Blue Jays, he got rocked. So a year later, he got annihilated in the postseason. Like they won in spite of him.
He was also nails in 84 with the Tigers too. But yes,
and he sucked in 92 in the World Series and the playoffs with the Blue Jays, which no one talks about because it doesn't fit that narrative. Like people need to have this like narrative, like this guy is good in the postseason, this guy is bad. Like they need it's weird how people need to have that in there when there's a lot of gray area.
There's a lot of bad.
Yeah. Morris, it's a little different. Morris is in the Hall of Fame because of October, mainly because of that 91 game. But yeah,
right. Well,
the 80s needs a representative. The 80s have no starting pitching representatives in this Hall of Fame. Very limited.
It's weird. Yeah.
Are you giving the dot like? Okay, let's play. No, I can't think of it. But how much ahead is Arizona right now? Like, are you almost throwing that game one out? Like the score because it was just a dud from Kershaw and it was over from the jump. Like, The Dodgers are very much still in this series as much as we're talking about Arizona. Like they just are. It's still Mookie Betts. It's still Freddie Freeman.
But it's Zach Gallen. It's like Zach Gallen. That's why I'm coming back. It's like Zach Gallen, and the fact that if he's had bad starts there before, I don't care. Now it means even less to me.
Dodgers are minus 160 despite all of this, by the way. So
insane.
I think Vegas very much believes that the Dodgers are okay.
I mean, they still have to pitch that Brandon Pfaadt guy.
Correct.
Like, he stinks.
Yes. He does. He's bad.
I mean, he's terrible.
He
has no business being in a postseason.
Now, what helps
What are you
Diamondbacks
shaking your head at, Carl? What's wrong? Am I wrong?
No, it's not. It's not that you're not wrong. It's like, could you have gone the show without having a shit on this kid? You know, he's out here making Game 3 starts for the fucking rookie. You're just over here. This guy stinks.
We're gonna need the MLB Network.
No, I'm not MLB Network. I'm just saying you're just you go out of your way to shit on this guy. You shit on this guy.
I'm being factual.
No, I think it was fair.
Of any starting pitcher to make a Game 1 start.
No one brought his name up and was like, "Well, this guy's coming." You were like, "Well, this guy's coming, and he sucks."
Well, Carl. I'm sorry.
We were just trying to like map out the rest of the okay. He's still got to make a start here. Like the Dodgers are not out of this by any means. Now to counter that though. Who the fuck are the Dodgers going to start opposed him?
Lance Lynn.
That's not great.
It's not.
Bet the over.
I would rather have Lance Lynn though than a virgin.
Well, he's not a virgin. He's had one really bad sexual encounter. Apparently, if that's what you want to call it. 2 1/3, 7 hits.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I would rather Lance Lynn as well.
I don't think you got a tip in, Carl.
I'm with you.
I would rather Lance Lynn as well.
How do you say his name, Clever?
Pfaadt.
I just say fat. Is it not fat?
I've been saying fate.
Oh,
I think that's
probably saying it wrong. I say everything wrong. But I do think, though, and this is the difference, hopefully, between us and some other shows, we'll actually call something honestly, where I think he has a bright future. He showed a lot of improvement in the second half of the season, but to be pitching in an LDS game, he has no business on that mound. He has no business being on that roster, Carl.
He's not wrong.
And I agree. I'm giggling or laughing or extending maybe what I would perceive as a joke on the show or a narrative that, I mean, you wrote a blog about how much this guy sucks before he even pitched in the playoffs. Like, you were like, he's the worst. I mean, he didn't.
It was a funny title. The title was like, he's the worst pitcher ever.
So kind of perpetuate like this. I would like to put this narrative out there that like Klummer's got beef with this guy.
Right? I have no beef with this guy. I'm just simply stating that's what people don't like, just facts. And the fact is, he has the second highest ERA behind only Jeff Weaver of any pitcher to make a Game 1 start.
And how did Jeff Weaver do?
Awesome.
You're goddamn right he did.
How did this kid do a couple days ago?
Yeah, bad.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's the Dodgers?
Hey, Milwaukee's tough environment this time of year, Bill.
That lineup's terrifying.
Diamondbacks home crowd? What do we expect from that? Anything?
Nothing.
I don't, right? It's not a great...
Bare minimum. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nothing.
Is that across the board universal the worst park in baseball?
No, it's not the worst.
Well, okay, take out the Trop. The Trop doesn't even exist,
Oakland.
but...
Here's what sucks most.
Places that are getting moved away from.
Yeah, then it is the worst because the location is fucking god off. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. The parking's atrocious. You can't get an Uber. It is an absolute shithole to the highest extreme in that regard.
Yeah, I meant to say places that try to take themselves seriously.
Right.
Like Tampa and Oakland don't. It's pretty bad.
Would they get a new stadium? Are they trying to?
Well, it sounds like they're going to stay there. There was a lot of fighting back and forth. They were threatening to move. It was a big whole thing with them in Arizona because the state owns the park, I believe.
So we have Dodgers 7 then?
Yeah, Orioles are dead last here. Orioles are dead last. 0-2 sad. They could make a comeback. Don't let them win the Game 3 is what I'd be saying in the Rangers clubhouse. Don't let these young kids win Game 3.
Yep. It just sucks because we all came on here at the deadline and said the Orioles just fucked themselves. They didn't get a good starting pitcher, and yet they played inspired, great baseball down the stretch, including getting really good starts from their starters. And through 2 games, this is the nightmare scenario that we all envisioned when they refused to really dish out the money or the prospects to go out and get a top-tier starter. Not dead yet, but man, that was a rough first 2 games.
Plummer, when does a trade deadline, can you say, won the team the World Series because of a starting pitcher?
Ooh, a starting pitcher?
Yep. Because this is where I want to draw a line with the Orioles and say we can criticize them for a number of things, but if they don't win the World Series, it's not going to be because they didn't acquire starting pitcher at the trade deadline. Like Grayson Rodriguez is fucking shit rocked. He wasn't ready to pitch. He was not ready to pitch at all.
Nope.
They still hung 8 runs.
There's not a ton of examples that come to my mind, first and foremost. So I think
Kenny Rogers with the Tigers took him to the World Series in 2006, right? Was that a trade?
That was a free agent signing.
Right.
Yeah, midseason's tough. You have like guys like Tom Candiotti with the Blue Jays in 91. You have Joy Alexander with the Tigers in 87. Of examples of teams that got to the playoffs because of the pitcher they went and got. There's not a ton that I can think of offhand. I mean, even like David Cohn came to the Yankees in 95. He didn't pay dividends for them in the postseason, obviously, until a year later. Major dividends. So it's tough to kind of see like a pitcher that year. But I mean, I'm sure if I thought about it long enough, there would be some examples for sure.
Sure. Well, then let's circle back on that because I'm interested in this topic because I think when the trade deadline rolls around, people get this anticipation that the team is supposed to solve problems to win the World Series.
I have one too. I have one. You go first. First.
Even though he wasn't great, he gave, when it mattered, Johnny Cueto for the Royals in 15. Gave him 2 huge starts. Won the decisive game against the Astros, complete game, not shutout, complete game against the Mets in game 2. They don't win the World Series without him that year.
Okay, mine. They didn't. Sorry.
Okay.
Go.
No, I was just curious. I would imagine that was that a 5-game World Series against the Mets?
Yeah.
All right.
But he won the deciding winner-take-all game in the ALDS. They don't get there if he's not on that roster.
Okay.
Yeah, mine is not winning, but he got them there. Cliff Lee, Phillies, 09.
Oh, good one. Yeah, he was
Cliff
money.
Lee carried them. Like he didn't give up runs in the postseason until the World Series. Basically, he was.
Was he on the Guardians that year or the Indians? I should say.
Yeah,
was that so. Yeah.
Was he in the Mariners?
Was it Mariners?
I think it was signed in free agent with the Mariners. Was there for like 6 months or something like that. Remember?
No, it was Cleveland. It was Cleveland. It was Cleveland for Carrasco, Nat Marson, and Don. What a bad trade.
Oh, I have an example for you, Carl. Actually, I thought of one. We just talked about him. Jeff Weaver. That was a midseason trade. Obviously, different situation where you're kind of getting this guy off the scrap heap, and he ended up just coming up big. And it was horrible in regular season for both teams he pitched for that year. But he was awesome in the playoffs. So I guess that's an example. But, I mean, the Orioles were different, though, because we knew they had one weakness they had to fix, especially at that point because Bautista hadn't gotten hurt yet. So he had one thing you needed to fix, and they didn't do it. The other thing, too, is the Orioles are an example of a team that I think is built better for the regular season than the playoffs, where they have a deep lineup. They have, like, guys like Kyle Gibson and Dean Kramer have so much value in the regular season and have, like, virtually none in October. And, like, that can bite you in the ass if you rely on those kind of guys too much.
Yeah, that's exactly who the Yankees thought Jordan Montgomery was. No value in October. They were like, great regular season guy. We don't have enough spot for this guy. And now he's doing. He didn't pitch great today, to be fair. Like he wasn't a stud. He was great, obviously, to start before. I had a thought in my head. Oh, can we talk real quick? Game 1. So obviously game 2 is a disaster. Orioles, Rangers. Game 1, 9th inning. Gunnar Henderson's at first base in the 9th inning. Nobody out. Hitters ahead in the count, 2-1. And they send Gunnar. It seems like Gunnar went on his own. I actually didn't see the quote after the game, but
it was a hit and run, and Hicks missed the hit and run.
Oh, is that what it was?
I didn't realize that till this afternoon either. I thought it was a mistake. I thought it was a mistake on Gunnar Henderson's part. Joe Davis talked about it on the broadcast in like the 2nd inning today.
So, that's why he said redemption for Hicks. I was wondering what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah, because fucking Henderson was probably sitting there like, wow, thanks a lot, dude. You made me look like a fucking asshole.
100%. I couldn't. I was like, yo, this is not the moment to do a like you had the pitcher kind of on the ropes. You're heading the count. You let off with a single. All this like and fucking Heim's got a cannon. Like, why are you testing that? That makes more sense. Fucking Aaron Hicks.
Imagine if the Orioles had traded for Montgomery.
Totally different story. Yeah.
Or Lucas Giolito.
Yeah, but Giolito was just turned to shit. Montgomery's good.
My point is the name we were throwing around was Giolito at the trade. Oh, they got Giolito.
It was.
Giolito.
That's true. That's fair. It could have gone very bad.
Oh, no. The name I was throwing out was Bieber. They needed to go get, prior to the injury. I guess the injury kind of fucked everything, but.
Yeah. But imagine they went and got Montgomery, though. Like, they would be in such. He's in a walk year himself. Yeah. Maybe they'll make a play for him in this free agent. They need to sign someone like that, but I don't know. I don't trust there.
Orioles, I just checked, plus 750 to win this series.
Ooh.
Wow.
Minus 1,300.
Dead last on this week's power rankings.
Justified.
Yeah.
Could be their last week on it. I think next time we do this, there will be 4 teams and hopefully an equal amount of debate. Clemmer,
Does this
I
wrap up?
I just want to check. You do look pissed. Is there anything you want to get off your chest beforehand, or like some closing comments? You look frustrated.
It's always frustrating talking like when people have these set like narratives, like October is this. It's like, well, it's still just baseball, A, and B. People want these narratives to exist very bad. People want, and they force it. It's just been like weeks of people forcing this October narrative when sometimes it's not necessarily even what's happening. It's a strange way for people to kind of perceive the game, which I have a hard time connecting to.
Well, you're a robot, so that is.
I'm not, though. I love the stories of baseball. That's what you want me to be. You want me to be this robot. No one loves the anecdotes of baseball probably more than me. I love this. I love the characters behind it. I love the anecdotes behind it. I love kind of the goofy shit about baseball. But I also don't love when it's like, this is October, because like Fox screamed at that for 20 years down our throat, that it becomes something when it's not.
I would like one moment where it does feel like October, because we haven't really gotten, besides the trade and double play. I'd like maybe this game 2 and Wheeler Freed. That's kind of got some juice to it. Braves really need a win. Truist should be rocking. Very excited for that one.
I just want to see you happy, Clemmer. This is a special time of year for you. You worked all year to get to this point.
It is. I'm frustrated about a few things. I'm frustrated about how bad the games have been, honestly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like very anticlimactic. I have not enjoyed really any of these games. I don't know. It's been kind of a stinker. Hopefully next week's better. I'm guessing it will be. This Twins-Astros series has given me some hope, because it's kind of fun to watch this team that does have a lot of playoff experience, or kind of these older veterans facing these like upstarts. There's a fun David versus Goliath thing going on there. But obviously, we've said all year the Twins are not that. I know I've been saying the Twins are not that bad. And we've all been saying the Astros are not that good.
No, there is a little part that no Red Sox, Yankees, Mets, like it just loses a bit of juice.
A little bit.
It's just there's a lack of
and Carl, no Cubs either.
no Cubs.
There's a lot of the sexy teams that are not in this.
That's not to say this can't be fun. This can turn around really quickly, but it sucks so far. We can admit that.
I hope it would add to the fun. It seems to have detracted from it, though. And also the first round just had matchups that were not fair.
Yeah. Well, that whole format is stupid. But
I think the format stinks.
Thank you.
I'm also down about that.
I could do the new format, no Blue Jays involved, just no Toronto Blue Jays.
Play with 11.
6 teams is too many teams.
Yep.
And this bye is stupid. So they should
I don't know how you fix it, though.
4 teams, no bye.
Yeah, they're going to take less money? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Owners? Wait, hold on. We're losing money now? No,
you can't put the poop back in the butt, Carl.
Yeah, once you add money, you can't take it back.
What if you went back to 8, but you made every series best of 7?
I don't think they do that on the pitchers. I don't think they want to exhaust
I would
pitchers.
prefer that, Chris, but I don't know that's going to happen. I would be in favor of that.
I don't think they would take away. Like they would, the players' union. I don't think would agree to that.
Probably.
I just said 4 teams. 4 teams.
That's what he said. You guys said the same thing, but
I said 8. I said 8.
Well, 4 on each side.
4 and 4.
4 on each side.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carl. I thought you meant 4 total. Okay, my bad.
But Chris is saying make everything 7 games. I just don't think they put that on the pitchers.
2 divisions, an East and a West.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
That's how I grew up.
Hey, dude, the Atlanta Braves playing in the NL fucking West. How about that?
We're gonna get that.
The LCSs it was a more exciting brand of baseball. It wasn't as deep as these playoffs are. But growing up, the LCSs had so much value. It made, for my opinion, a better playoffs. But we'll never get back to that, honestly.
No.
Since Barstool Baseball, we're going to be back later this week. Special edition episode out on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. I also have an episode that I recorded. I'm going to release this as a bonus episode. I meant to say this off the top. I fucked up the audio, but I did a roster wars with Smitty and Big T to kick off the Braves and the Phillies series. If I told you guys I spent less than 15 hours on the audio, I'd be lying. No. fucked my thing. But I felt so bad because they don't record shows with us. So I didn't want to say, hey, we got to do this again. My microphone was like plugged halfway and half out. Big T tells me 15 minutes in, he's like, hey man, I'm sorry. We can hardly hear you. So I had to go in and like, it sounds so, it actually sounds so, I have to release it. It's out on YouTube now, but I'll put it up on the podcast feed after this is out. So there's an announcement. I don't make many of these. I'm sorry. Announcements, that is. Shows I make way too many for these fucking mistakes. I apologize for it, but keep your eyes peeled for it. It's Barstool Baseball. We'll be back. Until next time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you.